Undergraduate women's studies professors would never let any of us students forget. At any moment and at any spot throughout campus, women's studies professors could and often asked us to recite the dates of the first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls. I was asked on a cold, -10-degree day in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, while rushing to a biology class I did not care about. July 1848 were blazoned into our memories not to discipline ourselves on simply knowing facts, but to know the history, the story, and the struggle that took shape that day on the mahogany tea table used to compose the first draft of the Declaration of Sentiments. When studying and often recording history, we have to remember the stories that are behind the scenes of the important figures and dates we etch into our memories. Remembering not just the lived experiences, but also seeing them before our very eyes are crucial into knowing that the feminist history we are studying isn't just facts and figures, but a part of our very existence, and that every piece of history has a story. Mary Ritter Beard understood this point, and this is just one of the many reasons why this esteemed award bears her name. I couldn't think of anyone better to present this to than my bridge partner, a mentor, and a dear friend, David Dismore. David and Mary share many similarities, but his unique and admirable passion for archiving and preserving the voices of women and a few men who have often fought for women's rights and equality is not only what makes him worthy of an award that bears his name, but also making sure her legacy and others are written into the history books that so many of us here today have read, and to make sure that we too share in their passions, listen to their stories, and set off to create the change we too want to see in the world. David Dismore has helped to foster, archive, and create a legacy of voices that not only lend to feminist causes, but make up the very core of what we, as feminists, fight for on a daily basis, not just now, but also in the future. Please welcome me in presenting this award to David.
Thank you. You know, if you've ever wondered about the power of the suffragists, just consider this. What started me on this path of being a lifelong, full-time suffragist was seeing one small, black and white, grainy photo in my high school history text about some suffragists. It was actually the Silent Sentinels who were spread out along the fence, carrying these huge banners, picketing President Wilson because he seemed to have plenty of time to go around the world promoting democracy for everybody else, but just didn't seem to have any time to do it to bring democracy to the women of his own country. Well, anyway, I think that the power of the suffragists was passed on to the second wave feminists. I also think that history repeats itself, so I would not be the least bit surprised if somewhere out there tonight some high school or college student is looking through their history text, and somewhere in there, they're going to see an event that happened exactly 45 years ago tonight. It was the Miss America picket on September 7th, 1968, exactly 45 years ago tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people in this audience weren't actually in that and part of that. And seeing that photograph is going to inspire them the same way it did me to say, I got to find out more about these people. And when they do, they're going to think, wow, I got to be part of this. And they're going to spend the next several decades working for equality unless we finish the battle for them in the next 10 or 20 years, which I think we can do.
That's right. Let's hear it for David Dismore, and thank you, John Erickson. Thanks to all the men that stand with us. We need you. We want you. We can't do this without you guys.